Grant and CV a billion and one times, but just going through and making my little hash marks like I do on my sheet of the guys to watch, and it feels like every heat race has got a bunch coming in and through there as you get a look. These are the cars in heat races number 1 and 2 that are out here for our first hot lap session. Tyler Edwards has got a really nice spot here on the outside of row number 1 in heat race number 1 as you see him rolling around in one of the Mount Stout cars. But unfortunately behind him outside row number 2 is the defending Chili Bowl champion, the guy on your screen right now, Logan Seavey.
That's right. I mean, from the drop of the green flag in his practice session Sunday, and then of course taking home the Race of Champions on Monday, it's been pretty much status quo, picking up where they left off last year. You know, we talked about the new right rear tire this year at the Chili Bowl, and hadn't hampered them much. They still coming into this one, the one to beat as his title defense starts now. Green flag is out for our first group of hot laps in a round. Well, Tyler Robbins.
If that's as bad as it gets for Tyler Robbins tonight, okay, so be it. And you saw a very, I don't know, typical spin that you'll see here. Guys coming around the corner, bounce on the berm, in and around. Okay, perfect. There's your one, Tyler. From here, you got to go.
He'll start 7th in this opening heat race as well, will Tyler Robbins, the driver out of Collinsville, Illinois. So he'll get turned back around and pushed back behind one of our pace trucks. Looking at some of those other drivers as well in these opening hot lap sessions, we saw a little bit of Ronnie Gardner in the 68. 68 Motorsports Group's been pretty fast. We saw Chance Crum have a decent day, maybe a little underwhelming maybe for what he was looking for, but Ronnie always puts on a show in this building.
Low-key, sneaky guy that could come up and take one of those 2 preliminary spots. He's been really close before.
Yeah, and Ronnie's got the talent behind the wheel, and he's got to spend a lot of the year with Logan Seavey learning and you know, figuring out what's going to make these race cars go around the racetrack the best they can. So 68 Motorsports got a good shot here. Ronnie had a lot of good prelim nights going.
If there's a good bottom, like he is really known for being really good at tiptoeing the bottom here come main event time, he'll be as big a threat as anybody outside of your top 2. Live timing and scoring is up, so you'll be able to see all of the hot laps tonight. As they come across, there's a look at Seavey, there's a look at Edwards in the 56, flying the Inferno Armor sponsorship. Oh, bikes it up and settles it back down.
Yeah, just like we saw yesterday, this first couple groups, it's going to be pretty juiced up. Just have to take care of your equipment and see what you have underneath you. You should take a look at Chris Cochran in the 42. A lot of laps in this building for Chris. If you look a little bit farther back, CV continues to, well, there you go, jump to the top of Dirt Draft Hot Laps, 11.418 for Logan.
He's chasing down Steve Gresham in the 27G as the yellow lights come on.
Sam Johnson creeping into the picture as well, 5th quick. So CV currently sets the benchmark here in Dirt Draft Hot Laps.
Will Armitage, who starts dead last in heat race number 2. Tyler Edwards, Luke Hall, Sam Johnson, 1 through 5. With Wyatt, Gardner, Robbins, Robbie Smith, and Bill Rose rounding out the top 10.
Looks like we're going to let these guys go again. We see this with the World of Outlaws. They roll the track in for a couple laps and then go again just to pick up the pace. And you know, most of the field in the mid to upper 11 seconds to 12 second bracket, definitely some pace to be found in the racetrack. And you know, quite frankly, we've had pretty narrow early heat races the last couple of days. So some extra laps here and hot laps for your early group guys, and I don't think that's a bad move at all. We'll see how much time is found on the speed chart. It's a quick green-white checker. And CV instantly picks up a half second at 10.9, and Sam Johnson down to 11.0, so.
CV, Johnson, Armitage, Edwards, Hall, now 1 through 5, then Gardner, Wyatt, Rose, Glenn Stiers, and Tyler Robbins rounding out your top 10. So yeah, that did make a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Something to keep your eye on here with CV too, guys, and I don't know how much it's been talked about, but he hasn't been feeling well the last couple of days. Struggling to keep food down and stuff like that. So he's been resting up all that he can. But you know, if we get a really aggressive track here, it could be tough on the physical wear.
All right, we'll see how that ends up playing out. I had not heard that insight on Logan, so we will find out how that plays out over the course of the night. Take a time out. We'll be back. Hot lap session number 2 coming up next on our live coverage of the 38th annual Chili Bowl Nationals on FloRacing, brought to you by NOS Energy Drink. Hot lap session number 2, down racetrack and on the track for the 38th annual Chili Bowl Nationals. These are the Dirt Draft hot laps, and the car you're seeing out there is a past Chili Bowl champion on your Friday night edition. Tim McCready out of Watertown, New York, the 19 car ready to roll after quite the rally last year at the Chili Bowl Nationals. Did not start great for Tim, ended up quite well.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it'll be interesting to see the speed in that Reinbold car as well. So, or Haywood Motorsports car, as I should say. It's a beautiful looking car. He looked really good in practice, but you look at all the Fender guys that are here. I mean, RTJ and obviously Timmy Buckwalter had a really good ride yesterday. So if he can keep that momentum going, I think this year it's been really impressive to watch some of these guys who don't typically come from the open wheel divisions perform really well. So certainly a lot of eyes will be on Mr. McCready here coming up in this hot lap session and the rest of the night.
He starts 9th in a loaded heat race number 3, so an opportunity to score, but some really good cars in front of him, including this guy outside row number 2, our winged outlaw champion from the Tulsa shootout just a couple of weeks ago, Emerson Axum, teaming up with Keith Kuntz Motorsports for a pilot ride tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we heard it at the top of the show. I think, we haven't really talked much about Emerson in terms of being a threat tonight. And obviously it's a stacked field for sure. When you have the defending Chili Bowl champion on your prelim night, some of the attention gets brought away. But Emerson, and I know, Clinton, you can attest to this too. He loves this building, and there's a little extra set of focus whenever he's behind the wheel here. And whether it's at the shootout or the Chili Bowl, he's going to find his way to the front for sure, and teaming up with Keith. And I believe he's one of the first to run the Link chassis as well out of that camp. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of performance he could put on.
Yeah, he's always, good inside this building. And it seems like there are guys that just find a way inside this building. They know their way around the racetrack. They find ways to be really good, and he's one of them. And get a look at his teammate, Gavin Miller. Gavin's had a really big breakout year this year with Keith Kuntz Motorsports, the 97. Brandon Self on the wrenches for him, not necessarily Keith actually turning the wrenches. So it's a young group of guys right there that's working on this 97 car, and they've showed a lot of promising speed, all year long, and look to capitalize on all that today at the Chili Bowl.
I lingered around Keith's camp a little bit this afternoon, a couple of different times, just kind of watching who was on what. Most of Keith's attention was on the Axum car today.
Yep.
So keep that in mind, but there is a lot of brain power in that camp to spread around as we get a look at a guy who's been very good on prelim nights before. That is the 21 of Darren Pittman. Pittman in the 21 machine. Outside row number 3 in heat race 6, and a little change for Darren this year is he's running with Matt Wood Racing guys.
Yeah, and I think that's a super good fit for Darren Pittman. He's always been so good down here in his own stuff, and now to team up with Matt Wood and the speed that they've had all week is pretty incredible. So I look for the 21 and Pittman to be a force tonight for sure. Yeah,
8-time Chili Bowl A-main starter, and I think missed the show last year by 2 or 3 spots. So definitely comes in with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. But yeah, absolutely. We know those Matt Wood cars have been awfully fast, whether it was Colby Copen the other night, Brian Bernal last night was fast coming through the field, and obviously Shane Golobic locking it in with a second-place finish on Tuesday.
Jace Park on the raceway, part of a really interesting looking heat race number 4 that includes Pittman, who we were just talking about. Park running in the Johnny Herrera camp for the weekend and going 410 racing with Johnny as well. He starts inside row number 4 in heat race number 4. See what the youngster can do out here with JHR here at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah,
right.
We saw him last year with Chad, and I think was one of the surprises, not only of the shootout last year, but also at the Chili Bowls in terms of the young rookies. So be really fast as well as you look at Stanfill in the 75A. It's a good-looking hot rod.
It's a guy who can get a race car around, too. People sleep on Brian Stanfill every once in a while, but he can race.
He's got the GoPro mounted on the top of the helmet.
That's Boogie. McDougal in the 38.
Outside row 1 in heat race 3. Who, you're closer with Jason than any of us, Clinton.
Yeah.
The reports were that practice day, we did not have a very happy Jason McDougal.
Yeah, and, Jason's probably pretty particular on what he wants race car-wise, and, he's somebody that can spin the wrenches as well as drive the things. So I'm sure him and Travis and the boys all went to work. I knew they were maybe having a little bit of engine issues also, just trying to get the thing to run the way they want it to. And so they've been hard at work all week trying to get stuff sorted out. And, interesting combo here, I would say, with Travis White and Jason McDougal. And we'll see how Jay Boogie can do the rest of the night.
Don Drow Jr. is going to start inside of row 2 for heat race 3. out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Always has speed in this building as well. Caleb, you're helping me fill out my dirt draft fantasy lineup.
He's a good value tonight, but the problem is that third heat race is full of guys that have won races all across the country in this one, as he's inside the third row behind Gavin Miller and Jason McDougal, and with Emerson Axum to his outside. It makes picking those guys hard because, you know, only so many guys are going to get through a heat race and into a qualifier.
Kyle Steffens coming back to the Chili Bowl, St. Charles, Missouri driver. A couple of wins this year, dirt car UMP modified.
Jumps into a Silver Crown car, and he's been getting progressively better in that. Now a midget racer, and guy can wheel. He's a talented driver. He's got a chance to show off there in that fourth heat race. As we're going to go green flag here on the racetrack for hot lap session number 2.
Everybody chasing Logan Seavey, first car below 11 seconds here this afternoon. As you ride along with, here's Gavin Miller, of course, multi-time winner in Extreme Outlaw and Power Ride Midget Championship runs. Tim McCready, a little bit of a moment as well as our laps coming in. Emerson Axum to the top 10.850.
Racetrack is light and fast.
I think that's as fast as we've seen all week out of Emerson right there.
Axum, Miller, Pittman, Seavey, Johnson right now the top 5. McCready now cracks the top 5.
Gavin Miller to the top of the speed charts with a 10.801. That is for sure the fastest lap we've seen around the Expo building all week long, and he goes even faster.
I was going to say, he's following Emerson Axum as the checkered flag waves. I was wondering if you were getting the 70s there in a minute.
Wow, 10.801 from Miller, then Axum, Pittman, Seavey, and McCready. Sam Johnson is 6. Jason McDougal 7, Jace Park 8, Don Drouд 9, Brian Stanfield 10.
An average of 83 miles an hour, guys, and that doesn't, not like a super high number, but if you think about when you go to your kids' high school football games and the track that's around there, try to drive around that thing at 80 miles an hour in your car in one lap and see how that works out for you. That's pretty crazy inside this tiny bull ring of a racetrack.
It's only, what, 30 feet wide? 25 feet wide, maybe?
Yeah.
There's not a ton of space here on this place.
No, and the sensation of speed you have in this building, too, is greater. Like you said, it's not, the mile an hour may not be as fast, but just because of the confines of this building, it feels like you're going 120 miles an hour for sure.
Both of us have ridden the back of the two-seater here in the last 2 years, Chris, and, you know, even that's down a little bit on speed compared to everything else. But, yeah, it feels like you're whipping around at 150. Take a time out. We have got hot lap session number 3 coming up next on our coverage of the 38th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals on FloRacing, brought to you by NOS Energy Drink. It is hot lap session number 3, Dirt Draft Hot Laps, and there is one of the most unique cars in the building with one of the most unique stories as well. As you look at the 0 of Johnny Murdoch from St. Louis, Missouri. He's a rock and roller that goes racing, Chris, and the 0 car is always unique.
Yeah, and it's always unique, but they always know how to have a good time for sure. And if you get a chance to, FloRacing did an awesome feature on Johnny, and just, you know, every year you never know what he's going to bring inside this building. But like you mentioned, also a musician. We're still trying to get him to play here in the pit area, maybe after one of the races one night. He said if he gets the invite from Matt Ward, he'll definitely do it, him and the band. But they definitely take, and they'll take requests too. So cool to see Johnny bring another piece back in this building.
Colorado's Joey Clemish, the 35K from Cortez, of all places. He goes outside row number 2 in heat race number 5 that features a lot of well-known guys. In fact, the guy in the row in front of him outside row number 1 is Justin Grant. Grant, the 2J, the multiple-time Friday night feature winner, Mr. Friday Night, until Logan Seavey interrupted that last year.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to try to go for number 6 in the last 8 years. And, of course, what's eluded him, though, is that Golden Driller on Saturday night. He's come close, finished second to Kyle Larson there in 2021, and, you know, kind of seeing him this week. And he's one of those drivers, Clint, that's like, I'm not in the building at all during the week. Like, he doesn't like to be in this building at all. He finds something to do around Tulsa, so definitely wants to kind of come in with that fresh mind. And, I mean, it's worked the last couple of years, but can this be the year he takes that extra step?
Yeah, I think we've seen JG, you know, certainly not fall off, but just not quite have the star power and raw speed that we've seen in a couple of years past. And you know, things are changing all the time, constantly changing throughout the year. You build packages for outdoors, you come in, and all of a sudden your package changes. And you know, I watched JG on practice day, and he was so fast. I mean, lightning fast. And you know, I don't know if they were trying stuff in the Race of Champions because they didn't qualify well, or you know how that went, but didn't have the speed we're accustomed to Justin having inside this building. So that I think that should scare the competitors more than anything.
100%. As you take a look at the 36 of Michael Hubert, it's going to roll off last in heat race number 6. That features a couple of shoes in the form of Ryan Timms and Steven Snyder Jr.
So with regards to Grant, first A-Main appearance 2016, he finishes 23rd. Then he goes on his massive streak. 2017, he was 3rd. 2018, 7th. 2019, 3rd. Not here in 2020. 2021, 2nd. Last 2 years, 16th and 10th. So room for improvement on Saturday nights, A-Main.
For sure.
For sure.
There is flying Ryan Timms back with Keith. Coons Motorsports, Kurt Wagajanian got the JBL colors this week at the Chili Bowl, and one of the young guns as well. Does a little bit of everything. Has been successful in the midget, and of course been in the wing sprint car ranks, picking up 360 and 410 wins this year, and got the chance to watch him a little bit with High Limit as well this year. So one of the up-and-coming stars here at the Chili Bowl.
It's Kurt Blackberry in the 8L. Actually, no, that's 8W. So
that's Hunter.
Yeah, that is Hunter. It's a different looking ride for him this year, at least as far as coloration goes.
Yeah, not what you're used to out of the JFM camp.
Haven't seen Hunter much this week. Didn't get a chance to talk with him. How is he doing? Is he ready for this Chili Bowl opportunity on Friday?
I think so. He's been gone all week. He just showed up, I think, early yesterday morning, middle of the night type of deal.
I saw him yesterday in the pit.
Yeah,
so.
put his seat in yesterday, and he's here. And he said, we were talking, and he said, you know, there was a couple times this year we missed hot laps for whatever reason, and we went out and we ran great. So screw it, I don't need practice. Let's just go do the dang thing.
I like that confidence. Ace McCarthy running out of the Tanner Thorson camp. Of course, Tanner's second last night, and Ace has been fast, teaming up with Tanner in that 28 machine. As we're underway in this hot lap session, you take a look at Steven Snyder Jr. in that 40 car.
It's a dynamite row with him and Ryan Timms. Second row of heat race number 6, and you almost get a feeling that how that row goes is how the heat race is going to go. But we'll let it all play out. Just get a look at Timms wheeling down the back straightaway in a wheel stand out of Josh Hawkins.
A lot of grip. Just take a look at Johnny Murdoch there getting past. Here comes Ace McCarthy as well, and Steven Snyder Jr. running for Chase McDermott this weekend. We've seen Steven with Take Ham in the past. Gastineau, the 12.
Bo Gastineau, I believe.
Yes, Bo Gastineau. Justin Graham, a couple of GoPros on it as well. We checked the lap times. And Steven Snyder Jr. up to 5th. Ryan Timms took 2nd with a 10.827.
A couple of drivers like Grant got bottled up at points in time there, but he's still within that range of what you would say those guys need to be in. So it's Gavin Miller, Ryan Timms, Emerson Axum, Darren Pittman, Steven Snyder Jr. now 1 through 5.
Pretty cool, too, that on this Friday night, we've got the top 4 in USAC midget points all running together, and 2 of those were in this group as well. So when you're looking at kind of the midget stalwarts of the course of the season, Friday night may be it here.
One thing working in Hunter's favor so far over this bowl, Mr. Boyles, JFM's fielded some fast race cars out there.
Yeah, and I feel like the Josh Ford Motorsports guys are always fast down here. Usually if they have some bad luck, it's mechanical issues. Speed's never really an issue for them. So I think that was enticing for Hunter to come back this year and try again with those guys and see what they can accomplish. I know they've had a lot of speed with Hunter the last couple of years, so he enjoys this event, as frustrating as it can be sometimes. But it's cool to be down here and get to see your family race.
Gasper was fast on his prelim night. Tafoya won B-Main last night as well, so did pretty well and good place to start with. Fourth hot lap session coming up next. Live coverage of the 38th annual Chili Bowl Nationals continues here on FloRacing. We are back live from the Expo Raceway as we get a look at the cars who are coming out to compete for heat races number 7 and 8 in hot lap session number 4, the Dirt Draft Hot Laps. And that is a young man making his debut in a legendary ride, guys, inside row number 2 for Cale Coons, driving the 63 tonight. Yeah,
pretty cool opportunity for Cale. I got to talk to him earlier this week, and he's the guy that says, I just want to race. I'm ready to race. I'm tired of sitting around. I want to do it. And I think is, probably more nervous than he is his mom, Amy. And she said, man, if it gets a big curb like that and he's out there racing, I'm just going to have to leave. I can't watch that. So entire family, obviously, super nervous, probably really excited also for Cale to make his debut here at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, and Jerry, too, this week was saying it was emotional on Sunday watching him wheel the Joe Dueling 63 around here. Just you think of the history of that car, too, and the opportunity that Cale has. So really cool to see that. And, of course, he's been so good in the D2 Midget Series this year. So excited to see what he can do here at the Chili Bowl.
Did you see Jerry wandering around the pits earlier at all?
I did.
He looked a little tight to me.
Yeah, I would expect that. And it's one of those things, too, where this being the first Chili Bowl, he wasn't sure, he told me the other day, like, how he's going to react, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't understand the nerves as a dad until you see that. So I'd be curious if those nerves didn't hit him for sure this afternoon.
Well, speaking of a guy who's now accomplished on the highest of highs, the winner of the Great American Race, you're taking a look at the pole sitter for heat race number 8. Welcome back to the arena, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah. Huge to see him come back and teaming back up with Keith. Last time they ran together was 2008. So It's a big reunion for Ricky to get back with Keith. And obviously we know the storyline with him taking a page out of Kyle Larson's book and calling Keith saying, do you have an extra car? And saw the car get wrapped yesterday. I talked to Haas, who was in charge of kind of wrapping the deal, and said it only took him 2 hours, but they got it knocked out and it looks nice. I think it's the first time we've ever seen a blue car out of the KKM camp.
It looks different, does it not? Car not red enough or orange enough.
Right.
That's okay. Ricky flying the NOS Energy Drink colors. Big thank you to NOS for keeping us all fueled up, caffeinated, and well ready to go all week long here in the booth. As you take a look at the 130 starting dead last in heat race number 8, that's Chase Osterhoff out of Kankakee. Wow, I mispronounced that, misread it at the same time. Kankakee, Illinois is where Osterhoff is from. Fire him off and shove him off at the back of that heat race, which you look at it, Stenhouse from the pole. If you could ask for a soft landing spot for Ricky, that's kind of it. That heat race, eyeballing the thing. It's got some names, including this driver right here, but they're packed towards the back of the field in Kaylee Bryson.
Yeah, she's going to have a little bit of work to do. Both her and Shane Cottle share row number 4. And being that deep, opportunities for some major points, but Ricky should hopefully just set sail on this one. But Kaylee teaming up with Sammy, I mean, this is, kind of one of those childhood dreams come true. That she posted a picture a couple weeks ago, getting an autograph from Sammy when she was a little kid here at the Bowl, and now gets to wheel the 91X and be a part of that team, the iconic team, and with all 5 times. So
I think that's an interesting combo, those two.
Yeah.
Sammy obviously getting up in age and probably a little bit wiser as, opposed to just standing on the gas, and Kaylee's the opposite. Not that she's not wise, but she absolutely just stands on the gas. So 2 totally different driving styles out of that camp this week, and it'll be interesting to see if she can bring a little bit more speed back to the infamous cars here inside this building.
Jody Rosenboom in the 14J is going to roll the outside of row 2 in heat race number 8, and that's the same one we were talking about with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kaylee Bryson, and Shane Cottle.
It's weird to think of Shane Cottle, who you're looking at right now, as the old guard, but he is a transition at this point in time to being part of the old guard in this building.
Yeah, 100%, but still fast.
Yes.
Especially if we get a track that's good on the bottom. We know what Shane can do as well. There's one of my favorite cars in the building, just by the fact that you know who it is when it's out on the racetrack, and that's Andrew Felker. Beautiful design on that 11A, and Andrew rolls on the inside of row number 3 in heat race number 7. So he'll have Cale Coons in front. So maybe those two can find their way to the front. But Felker always, always fast in this building.
In behind him, taking a look at the 1P, driven by Terry Nichols, Delano, California driver. Nichols up and around the outside of Earl McDowell in the 60. Only a minor pet peeve for me from leaving the sticker on your tire, especially on the right rear. I'll get over it. We'll watch Stenhouse down the back straightaway as green flag out here on the 4th of 5 hot lap sessions.
Yeah, remember, this is his first laps this week. Did not run Sunday, so Ricky trying to get adjusted. As you look back here, there's Cale Coons in the Joe Dooling 63, Stenhouse in tow. We'll check some of the lap times here as they cross the stripe.
Ricky's just fine.
Yeah. It's like riding a bike, for sure. Kaylee Bryson back there as well.
I'd like to see Kaylee get free of this and actually get a clean lap. They didn't have the best race of champions.
Yeah.
And now Harley White getting by her. Holloman in the 20 car. Top 5 goes unchanged in that, guys. Gavin Miller, Ryan Timms, Emerson Axum, Darren Pittman, Steven Snyder Jr., Logan CV6, Frankie Guarini at Stenhouse, the only guy to crack the top 10 out of that group at 8th quick. In fact, his last lap by was his fastest one at 11:28. Tim McCready, Sam Johnson rounding out the top 10. Shane Cottle, the next quickest out of the group at 11:1. I gotta pick other cars that I saw out there. One more group to go.
Should watch Ricky go back up the ramp. Just keep thinking about last year on Friday night and just how close he came to knocking off, for a prelim win, or I should say that was 2 years ago now, but comes in with a lot of confidence for sure. As we take a look, don't forget, Dirt Draft Hot Laps means Dirt Draft lineups need to be set when we are done with our 8th and final Hot Lap session. New subscribers, you can get a free t-shirt if you join Dirt Draft and play against all kinds of people from across the country, across the world, including some of the FloRacing members in attendance. So make sure you sign up Dirt Draft, get your locks in, and play along. Well, we've got one more group of hot laps headed down the NOS Energy Drink ramp camp, so we will take a quick break here on FloRacing, live coverage of the 38th Chili Bowl Nationals, powered by NOS Energy Drink.
Our final Dirt Draft Hot Lap session is on the track here at the Expo Raceway in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hard Rock qualifying night. Hard Rock Casino has taken none of my money this week, but I'm in the minority there.
Yeah, I spent a couple nights out there, and I've had my fill. It was not a successful trip. What about you, Clinton?
Yeah, I went out there early this week, and I took a little of their money, so
Okay.
All right.
I've stayed away.
Hayden Reinbold is on Raceway. He is outside row number 3 in heat race number 9. Reinbold, the young racer, rapidly improving as well. He is making jumps by leaps and bounds in the 19 car and can have an exciting 2024 as well. Chris and I are banned from saying anything other than this is the driver of the 95, Chris Andrews.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I was told later, if he has a good heat race, we can start.
Yes. This is all coming from Jimmy Miller, of course, car.
Correct.
There's Jimmy.
Oh, no. There's some serious nerves going on right there.
Santino Ferrucci, we got to talk to him a little bit this afternoon. Caleb, back with Dave McDalby Motorsports, just inked a deal, full-time IndyCar racing next year for AJ Foyt, and starts on the pole of heat race number 9, and he was super thrilled with that.
He's in a good position. That front row is him versus Andrews. I love the dichotomy of what that battle is going to be versus your guy with a billion laps here versus your guy with not very many, your guy who has made a name here in this arena versus your superstar coming in from outside and testing his mettle against the world. It should be awesome.
Bryant Wiedemann, you know, Chad Boat, not the best of prelim nights yesterday. Jesse Love got upside down in a big way, but is the last kind of bullet in their stable. Finished third in USAC points this year. You also look at Chase Stockin in one of the Jody Rosenboom entries. And I told Caleb he looked really good on Sunday, so he could be a sleeper pick as well.
Chase has got himself a long history of being able to drive past guys in superior equipment, superior rides, etc. So that's not going to shock anybody in this arena if he does pull that off. Anton Hernandez is teamed up with the Texas Aeroplastics guys, Scott Evans and the like. He's outside row number 2.
There's Reinbold in the 19A. Picked up his first national win at I-44 back in October with Extreme Outlaw Midget Series. As we take a look at Santino Ferrucci, boy, hasn't he come a long way? I remember his first Chili Bowl a couple years ago. He could not stay on the racetrack. I mean, just for lack of better terms. I mean, obviously, you know, not coming from dirt at all, but looks a lot smoother. There's the checker flag waves. And we take a look at timing and scoring. It looks like
Chase Stockin was fast in that group, cracking the top 10 with an 11.057.
Reinbold 15.
Yeah, Wiedemann 19th. So,
all right.
Back up the NOS Energy Drink ramp cam, or back up the ramp they go on our NOS Energy Drink ramp cam. And don't forget, Chili Bowl 50-50. Roger Slack giving us an update. The jackpot is up to $43,389. And of course, Saturday night's winner takes half of that. You can go to chilibowl5050.com if you are not on property to buy tickets, but you have to be in the state of Oklahoma to do so. So if you are in the Oklahoma area, go ahead and pick up your raffle tickets, chilibowl5050.com. And don't forget, $1,000 drawing every day as well.
Got your numbers yet?
I've got them.
Okay, I got to go get mine.
I've not been successful yet on the daily drawing, but hopefully I'll take home half of that jackpot.
It would be nice to head home with 22G or more as we take a final timeout. Should have opening ceremonies due up next as you watch our live coverage of the 38th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals on FloRacing, presented by NOS Energy Drink.
It's almost heat race time on Friday night of the Chili Bowl. Welcome back to FloRacing's coverage of the final prelim night of the week. Hot laps are in the books. Gavin Miller fastest in hot laps tonight. Opening ceremonies coming up next that will immediately be followed by 9 heat races. It is the largest field of cars of the week. And we're standing up here in the staging area as heat races get set to roll out with none other than the defending Friday night prelim winner and Chili Bowl champion, Logan Seavey. First and foremost, Logan, we talked to Clinton earlier, and he said, hasn't been the easiest week for you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not the best. I've just been struggling to eat and just a little low energy today, but no big deal. We're here to race and get the job done, and yeah, not too worried about it now at this point. I felt great there in hot laps. Kevin's given me a great car, so that's in the past, and we're looking to win us a prelim night.
You obviously spent the last 365 days as the defending Chili Bowl winner and living up to everything it means to have won this race. Now that you're here, what's the attitude been like for you in your attempt to go back-to-back?
Yeah, just confident, really, confident in my car, knowing what we have to bring to the track this week, and just knowing the speed we have, and then we showed it there on Monday. So yeah, just confident. Just got to have a nice, smooth prelim night. Don't have to do anything crazy, but just stay out of trouble. Make sure this car will get its way to the front eventually. So I'm not too worried about where we end up or where we land. Just need to not get myself out of the race, and as long as we're in the race, I think we got a shot.
Track's been really good all week, but a little bit different each night. Do you feel like with the minor differences that you'll see tonight from the Race of Champions on Monday night, is that going to cause for any major changes to the race car, you think?
Yeah, you never know. The track's changed every night. The cushion's been really big every night, and it's been pretty technical. So it's really good. I like the way it's been looking, and I'm just excited to get going. It's already building a pretty little nice little edge there in hot laps. And that was the first session, and already was trying to, and we were down in the 10s in the first session. So it's got a lot of grip tonight, and not ideal when you're in an early heat, but got a gasser, old Ted in front of us. I know he's going to get going, and hopefully, get going in line with him, and then, see if I can go by him for the lead. But you never know, these things, anything can happen. Just got to get a smooth first couple laps and get settled in and then go from there.
Logan Seavey isn't going to have to watch any heat races before he gets out there for his. He'll be up in the first heat race of the night in the 39.
Talking off air here in just a couple of seconds, but all three of us think that Logan is really, really well set up tonight, not just from where he is starting here in heat race number 1, but the package he has and his ability, along with the crew's ability, to adjust to any circumstance or situation that this racetrack or this race night might throw at him.
A lot of experience, between the guys on that Swindell Speed Lab team, and they all just kind of do their job. They don't get too excited. They don't let the highs get too awful high. Don't let the lows get too low. And they also want to go out and do their job, and they know they have the speed and the ability to be there at the end of the night. And I think that's a great perspective to have from those guys. If you you let yourself get too worked up, you try to do too much, that's not your job per se, then it never really ends well. So yeah, pretty cool to see those guys have the success they've had the last year now.
Kevin's put a good team together underneath him for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I just you surround yourself with the best people, and it's been cool to just see the success so quickly though too on the midget side of things. You don't forget, it's not like he's been owning midgets for that long. Aside from when he was a driver. So really cool to see that as you take a look at Bobby Moore Art. He's been hard at work, and some of the paintings I heard last night due to some festivities in the pit area almost got a little ruined by some beverages. So they had to quickly kick those out of there. But good to see at least Spencer Basin's coming along nice. Of course, your prelim winner last night.
Well, taking a look at the grandstands, let's throw things down to the house as we are ready for opening ceremonies here in the building.
All right, at this time, we ask that each and every one of you please rise as our Friday tradition. Our track chaplain, Jim Shepard here. We've got the pledge and then the prayer. Jim?
Thank you, sir. Actually, I'm going to ask you to step back down for just a second. Because on Friday night, we honor our veterans. So any of you, anywhere in the building, if you can hear my voice, if you are an Army veteran, would you please stand up so people can see you? Army veterans. I am a retired Marine myself, 22 years in the Marine Corps. If you are a Marine Corps veteran, please stand up. If you served in the United States Navy, would you please stand up? If you served in the United States Air Force, would you please stand up? And our newest and babyest service is the Space Force. Is anybody here from the Space Force? Let's clap for them anyway. All right, would you please stand now with us? On Friday nights, we are honored and we take the time to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. Hopefully you are a proud American. We need this more than ever. Let's pray. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we hear it for all of our veterans? Thank you. Let's pray. Let's bless this night. Father, we're so thankful for this place. We're thankful for all that happens here. We're thankful for the great racing that's already been done this week. We're excited for tonight and for the opportunities to see these great athletes in action. Lord, we can't help but think about our veterans that are all around the world, Lord. Some are in hazardous places. Some are in not so hazardous. But they're all away from home. They're all serving our country so that we can live free. We thank you for their service and for their sacrifice. We also want to recognize their families. Lord, the wives and children of these service members serve right along beside them. We also want to raise up our first responders, firemen, police officers, our paramedics, all the people that serve us, Lord, when there's an emergency. We've had to use them already this week. We ask you now to bless this place, bless our track officials, bless our track workers, bless our racers, and be with our fans as they come and go. Help us to honor you in all that we do. We thank you in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. We ask you please stay standing. Gentlemen, remove your caps for the singing of the national anthem, Maggie Ernst.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Back to the booth we go. Chris, Clinton, did you know that Maggie Ernst is Dean Mills' personal karaoke partner?
Really?
They do a great version of I Got You, Babe.
Oh.
We're about ready to take a timeout. Racing coming down the ramp in a matter of mere moments as you guys are watching live coverage of the 38th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals here on FloRacing, our all-week coverage brought to you by NOS Energy Drink.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Rolling down the ramp via the NOS Energy Drink ramp cam for our first heat race of the night here at the 38th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals Friday night edition of the program. Packed program for us tonight, the most cars of the week with 80 cars in competition over these 9 heat races. Full field as you get a look at the Bosky's Performance Parts speed shot from the bottom of turn number 4 right outside the Brian Gapinski announcers booth, where the three of us, Caleb Hart, Chris Wilner, and Clinton Boyles, are with you. And we've got some more fun coming into the booth supposedly tonight. So we'll give you a little variety here on your Friday night before we give you a lot of variety tomorrow over the course of the day. Should be a fun couple of days of broadcasting here is, of course, final prelim night. And then tomorrow it is the Soup starting sometime in the morning, of which we don't know quite yet.
Yeah, not official yet, but for sure, you know, these Friday and Saturday are always a pleasure for us too because we get to hear from so many different voices. And yeah, you teased it. We're going to have a couple of different perspectives, and I'll use different because they're on opposite ends of things. One's a driver, one's a crew chief, and be pretty cool. And the crew chief is a character, by the way, so you're going to want to stick around for that. But, yeah, for sure, super excited for it. But we go heat racing here. First order of business is to figure out who's going to lock into the top 40 in passing points. That'll put them into a Toyota qualifier. Here's your lineup for heat race number 1 with Luke Hall and Tyler Edwards. Ted on the outside of front row number 1. Steve Gresham and Logan Seavey. The defense starts here for Seavey on the outside of row 2. Jeff Schindler, Stuart Snyder in row 3. Tyler Robbins, Chris Cochran make up row 4. Your 9th and final starter is Brad Wyatt. So top 40, as we mentioned, Caleb, the scoring, 100 points to win from the pole, and then from there it's 5.
It is 5 on back. Second 105, third 110, fourth 115. Good time to give our nightly props and mention to Wikipedia. He's got an awesome little scoring chart pinned and right there on his top of his Twitter or X. If you check that out, you can see where everybody ends up going. He is also your unofficial home for live time points. Now, there's once in a while he'll have a snafu because he doesn't catch the official disqualification or the correct starting spot for a driver off there, but more often than not, he's in the ballpark. So again, at Walkapedia with an underscore after it on Twitter or X. Fantastic follow for this. If you guys want to keep up, we'll do our best to give you the points and who's in the leader in the clubhouse position as we can as well.
Interesting little bit here, guys. The track, I feel like, is more narrow than we've seen it for Heat Race 1 so far, especially in 3 and 4. There's a distinct cushion, and Logan Seavey talked about it a little bit before. He said in Group 1 of Hot Laps, he could feel it starting to form. So we'll see these guys roll through right here. I mean, it is narrow. This is not going to be a cakewalk by any means for Logie as he tries to maximize full points here and go 4-1.
4-1, obviously a good score, 115. That's well into a qualifier and probably into a second or third row of the qualifier, the way that it's been. 4-2 is worth 103, and that's almost always front row of a qualifier, the way it's been, first or second row of that. If he goes 4-3, that's 91. He's still there. 4-4 worth 79. And as far as this night's concerned, 79 always above the cut line to get into the qualifier, but not in a great position, as we're green on the racetrack.
Didn't take long for Logan to find the extreme high side entry into one. Shoots his second, but this is where it's going to get tough. Tyler Edwards is a really good race car driver. Mounts out, brings a really good program down here to the Chili Bowl.
I was going to say, these two already starting to pull away just a little bit. CV just trying to size up Tyler Edwards right now on this juiced up racetrack. CV skates a little bit high. Caution flag is out for the first time. It's the 41W of Brad Wyatt.
Wyatt started last on this field, rolling to a stop here on the back straightaway.
And when we talked points, throughout the week, we kind of, I try to find some of the averages of where the top 40 cutoffs been. It's everywhere, but around 70, 71. The average for Friday, because typically there's been more cars, about 73.5 or so. But, some of the things that you just don't know are who are going to be the big movers, because we looked at last night, thought Kyle Larson, even though he didn't really gain anything and had 70 points or 72 points, I believe, and the cutoff usually was 70. It was like 76 last night or something even higher, so he missed a qualifier.
And not only that, missed it by 4 spots, too. So thought he might sneak in. He did not. The average, according to Wikipedia, to make the inversion is 92.5. So CV would be well within that right now if he hangs there. And it's also an opportunity for him to restart in behind Edwards, which might give him a better run here, Clinton.
Yeah, I feel like he maybe went to work on his shock straight a little bit. He started off, you could tell, super free and skating just a little bit, which you have to do to be safe and go kind of up above what the cushion would be. Now that he's in second and he can go a little bit more on attack mode, he'd feel free to put a little more grip in your race car and have at it.
Good restart for Tyler Edwards, who continues to pace the field in that Mountain Stout 56, but CV is starting to get it figured out, and the caution flag's out for the 36 machine, 35 machine, 39, or no.
35 Tyler Robbins.
Tyler Robbins, there it is.
You saw it coming off the 4th corner. He had that car down about a half groove lower than Edwards coming off the turn, so that bodes well. Okay, now if he can stuff the nose in there further and move him up racetrack, he's got a shot to beat him into the bottom of turn number 1.
Second spin on the afternoon for Robbins, who looped her around in hot laps, and we got a problem here.
Jeff Schindler's 8X.
Yeah, the left rear tire flat. Let's go downstairs to Brian Ward with more.
Yeah, they're going to try and get this car to the work area. Heard him on the receiver tell him, hey, you've got a left rear flat. You got to go to the work area. So that's where he tried to get, and I guess he stalled it out right before he pulled into the area. I do not see anyone working hard to get here. Nope. They're just going to go straight up the ramp. No one here to change that tire.
And tire already off the bead, so up the ramp he goes. So we lose 1 in heat race number 1. Still 7 laps to go. Tyler Edwards, Logan Seavey, Luke Hall, Stuart Snyder, Steve Gresham, your top 5. Let's see what Seavey can figure out here to go 4-1 in this opening heat race. Tyler Edwards back underway.
I think it's Tyler Edwards' race to lose at this point. He makes really clean, consistent laps. I just don't see how Logan's going to have the speed to just drive right by him.
Have to make a mistake with Edwards, and he may have made one there. Little high off exit. He gets it back figured out on the bottom in 1 and 2. Seavey just hounding his prey at this point, waiting for Tyler Edwards to maybe make a mistake. Leaves a little bit of a lane on the bottom. Seavey doesn't take advantage there.
He's got the car to pass him. The question is, does the circumstance come up at this point for Logan Seavey, who's going to arc it in a little bit higher, and you can see he can drive that car off a half groove lower, but if Edwards can continue making good laps in front of him, just might not be the time for Logan to get by.
He's going to open up his entry. Logan Seavey going to try to get it back toward the bottom. Oh, he's there. A little bit of contact.
Logan just waiting on him to hit the berm a little bit one time on entry here, and that'll bounce him out of the groove. And there's a little opening. Logan wasn't able to capitalize.
2 to go this time by. And Luke Hall is creeping into the picture as well. Seavey this time all over the back end of Tyler Edwards. Edwards trying to keep that car pinned on the bottom. White flag is in the air. Seavey's going to have one final shot.
4-2 is still going to be a perfectly decent score for Logan here as he'll come off the bottom, one more run, but Tyler Edwards hangs on. 2-1 for him. Seavey in second. Long ways back before you see Luke Hall, Stuart Snyder, and Tyler Robbins rounding out your top 5. So Edwards 105, CV 103 is how we will start this. Both drivers will make qualifiers and should be situated well within those qualifiers to move forward as well.
And that's veteran, too, of Logan Seavey to not force the issue and get yourself in a trouble spot. You know, maybe had an opportunity to put a right front underneath the left rear, try to knock Tyler Edwards out of the way. But like you said, safely into a qualifier, and then that's where you can make up some of those opportunities and points.
Heat race 2 on the ramp. NOS Energy Drink ramp cam will show us the cars and drivers rolling down. Ronnie Gardner's got the pole in this one in the 68. Robbie Smith, who we're familiar with from the shootout, outside row 1. Josh Hodge and Bill Rose in row 2. Glenn Stiers and Sia Sam. Sam Johnson in row number 3. John Egan and Nathan Smith. Will Armitage make up the rest of the 9 cars, going 8 laps with more points on the line here in our second heat race.
Should be a pretty good battle at the front with your front row. As let's go up top. Hi, Chris Moore. You've got our first K1 Race Gear interview of the heat race.
Yeah, Tyler Edwards, man. 2-1, 2-2 is a big difference. How much pressure did you feel, especially with those couple yellows with Logan hot on your heels?
I mean, every bit of it. Logan's probably one of the best in the building, and I knew if I made one mistake, he was going to squirt by me, and I felt like I was making a bunch, but just had to hold it low and hope he didn't get by me. So.
Cars seem to rotate really well around the bottom, especially when you could kind of keep that left front off the berm. It looked like that was the one kind of problem spot you might have had there a little bit.
Yeah, just really just trying to not let him get by. I think is why I was making a lot of mistakes there, but I feel like we got something to build on now and just get this deal in the main and see if we can run up front.
Maybe the hardest part of the night. You got it done. Good job.
Yeah, hardest part of the night for sure, so pressure's off now. Let's go race.
All right, there you go, guys. He's feeling good, ready to go race. Tyler Edwards, your Heat 1 winner.
I'm really disappointed you didn't finish that with welcome to his TED Talk.
But you can even hear in his voice, too, how much you're still working behind the wheel. I mean, he's out of breath, Clinton, on a lockdown racetrack. So we get heat race number 2 fired off around the Expo Raceway. Appreciate everybody tuning in live on FloRacing. Don't forget, you can use the social channels. Let us know where you're watching from. Hashtag #TweetYourFlowSeat.
Be sure to tag NOS Energy Drink when you do that, too, right?
Be sure to do that for sure. And I know already plenty of you have been checking it in from all across the country, including all across the world. So I want to give a shout out to John Murdy's mom, who's watching from home. Julie, if you're watching, 60th birthday. Happy birthday. John's over here racing. We'll see him a little bit tomorrow morning.
Happy birthday from wherever you're watching from. Appreciate your tuning in here on Flow. Again, tweet your Flow seat, hashtag that, and then tag at NOS Energy Drink and tag FloRacing as well so we can see exactly what you guys are doing. As field starting to roll into position, really good opportunity for Ronnie Gardner, pole position here. And we said earlier, if there's a good bottom groove, Ronnie is going to be really, really good. Well, inside row 1 here on this heat race and this racetrack, looks like a easy 100 points if he gets a good start over Smith in the 77. Is going to do everything he can to make it tough on him.
Yeah, for sure. If you're Smith, you know that this start right here is critical just because of that first heat race. You know, it's not going to be much different in terms of track conditions from that first heat race. And we saw that, you know, it was hard for Logan Seavey to get by Tyler Edwards. So critical opening start here. But again, you cannot jump the start. We can't reiterate that enough. So you don't want to get penalized here, but he's got to try to bait Ronnie Gardner into getting a better start.
Pacing through the corner, you see the little nose from Smith up and ahead. Good start down on the bottom. Good start up high for Gardner. Gardner gets up, breaks the stride of Smith a little bit in turn number 2, and looks to hold the lead here on lap number 1. It is Gardner 1, Smith 2, Bill Rose trying to hunt him down, the Outlaw regular in the 3rd spot, leaving the lane open just a hair down low for Sia Sam. Johnson can't do anything with it off the 2nd corner and settles into 4th.
Sam's got a fast car. The open door is there. He chose not to take it. Bill Rose left the bottom side, and Sam Johnson's got company too. Josh Hodge is there. Glenn Stiers creeping into the picture. And now Johnson a little bit wide in 3 and 4, trying to figure out a way to get around Bill Rose. He's going to go topside in 1 and 2, and just not a whole lot there.
Yeah, if you can keep yourself in that packed-in area just around the bottom, the cushion, quote unquote, is extremely low here on the racetrack. You're gonna have to be very brave to drive up and around it to make something happen. As we're back a spot, Josh Hodge in the 5J 83 of Will Armitage. There's Johnson all over Rose. You can see that lane getting into 1 and 2 is just a car and a hair wide, although Johnson tried stuffing her in and goes for a ride in turn number 3.
Yeah, Bill left the door open, and yep, you can read the bottom of the belly pan. It's exactly what he was thinking.
That's apropos, is it not, for Sam? Turn him back over. Safety crew will attend over here in the 3rd and 4th corner.
Bill was opening up his entry, and I think Sam thought maybe the lane was open, and then as soon as that car got side by side, just the hole closed. Check out the instant replay brought to you by Ibach. It's off of turn 2 down into 3, and right rear over left front, and that's not going to be a winning combination for Sam Johnson.
Taking a look at it, guys, I don't see where Bill is rolling at the moment. I thought that maybe he had slowed down and stalled her out too, so that might cost us 3rd and 4th as Brian's over in the corner taking a peek at it. Brian?
Yeah, it's just your front end damage. Your left front axle's bent back, tie rod bent. The drag link is bent. They'll get that changed. Everything on the chassis looks good. There's some oil leaking from where that car was laying over. We'll get on the ride over here. See if we can get a word in. Sam, you had a rocket ship there stuck behind Bill Rose and just tried to take your shot. What did you see? What did you see coming into the corner?
Hell, I don't know. You got to go for it. It's Chili Bowl. You know, I felt like we were side by side going in the corner, so I really felt like it was kind of my spot. And I don't know. I feel like he pinched me a little low. It's a racing deal. It's Chili Bowl, you know.
We'll get it fixed up and look forward to you moving forward in one of those C mains.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to because we got a lot of work ahead of us.
Rose now at the back of the pack. He did stop on the racetrack, so Josh Hodge going to pick up 2 positions because of that, although Hodge started 3rd, now running 3rd, so no real gain made on there. Everybody else behind him picks up a couple of spots. Gardner and Smith 1 and 2 still, and a great restart for Ronnie Gardner. Robbie Smith cedes a lot of ground to him coming out of the 2nd corner already.
Yeah, Josh Hodge had a good start as well, trying to get that 2nd spot away as Smith. Car looks just a little bit free as Josh Hodge now gonna have a little bit of company. Will Armitage again started at the trunk of this field up to 4th. So a 9-4 run for Will. And may have an opportunity, though, the white flag already out for Ronnie Gardner, who has set sail on this field. Everyone's single file. And 100 points for your pole sitter. Ronnie Gardner wins Heat 2. Robbie Smith, Josh Hodge, Will Armitage, 9-4. Glenn Stiers rounds out the top 5.
It's worth 104 for Armitage to come up and through, so likelihood he just made the invert of a qualifier after those 8 laps of the 2nd heat race. Gardner will move up top and talk to our boys at the top of the ramp here in a matter of mere seconds. As just like that, 2 down, 7 to go here on heat races, the final heat races of Chili Bowl. Kind of depressing on the one hand, but means we're all that much closer to the Soup Run. Tomorrow, you're going to catch every lap of every race here on FloRacing. You never need to change the dial, as we're the only ones in the building streaming this.
That's right. Yep, every lap, every moment, all the way through championship. A-main festivities tomorrow night. It'll be a long one for sure. As you take a look at heat race number 3 going down the ramp and out onto the racetrack. Gavin Miller in the 97 will be your pole sitter. J-Mac Boogie outside of row 1. That'll be a fun one to watch. Don Drown Jr., Emerson Axa making up row 2. Brian Stanfield, Wesley Smith in row 3. Pierce Urbanowski in row 4 with Casey Hicks. And, of course, Timmy McCready coming from 9th there in the 19. So this one, a lot of players, Caleb Hart.
Lots of them, and it makes the job of a guy like McCready all that much tougher coming from the back of the field. You know, you're always looking at who are the guys that I'm in. I've got a good car. I think I can pass this guy. No gimmies here for McCready, as we're going to check in up top with Connor Wade.
Ronnie Gardner gets a great start, and that leads him to a heat race win. What a start that was, and even though there was a yellow in between, how did that start kind of set the tone for the rest of that heat race for you?
I just knew you can't jump it. I've been watching people do it all week, and I knew the car outside of me, the guy didn't have all that much experience, so just made sure I took off at the same time as him, and I knew if I made it down to 1, we'd be all right. The car car's good, and I'm just shaking the rust off from not being in the seat. I work on them a lot more than I drive them now.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask you. You've been wrenching all week, and now back behind the wheel. Have you been thinking about being behind the wheel at all this week, or have you mostly been focused on wrenching on other race cars?
A little bit, but I'm also here to do my job. You know, like after we were done on Wednesday there with Tyler, I was able to start thinking about being a race car driver again. So got to watch a little bit last night, and this is my 14th Chili Bowl. So if I can't figure it out in a practice session on Sunday, then probably shouldn't be in the car.
Ronnie Gardner's been coming to the Chili Bowl a long time, and tonight off to a good start. He's the winner of heat race number 2.
Heck of a run for him. 14 Chili Bowls out of Ronnie Gardner.
It's a lot.
That's experience. Can't call him the young guy anymore. That's veteran experience at this point. So you get a look, speaking of veteran experience, Don Dowd Jr., the Team Jack car from Lincoln, Nebraska. Guy that if you've lived in Kansas, Nebraska, all over the Midwest, you have seen Don Dowd. You've seen him win a wing sprint car races. Longtime veteran, very, very solid driver. Jason McDougall outside row number 1. He's going side by side with Gavin Miller off the front of this. Dowd and Axum in row 2. The underrated Brian Stanfield and Wesley Smith in the 3rd row. Then Urbanowski, Hicks, and Tim McCready. So if you got any of these guys in your dirt draft, they did not get a great heat race to come and try to show their wares, because there's talent all over the place that's looking to come up and knock them off their point. Turn the lights out, ready to go. Heat race 3, 8 laps to determine your victor, and see who's coming out with all the points.
Be curious to see if somebody gets a little bit more aggressive, trying to move the racetrack up and the cushion up a little bit from the bottom, just especially coming for a little bit farther back, as Gavin Miller and Jason McDougall will lead them to green here in heat race 3.
Traffic jam inside turn number 2. Advantage goes to Miller, fighting down. Emerson Axum did a good job of getting to the bottom groove. As you see Stanfield getting knocked around. The yellow with red visored car who just worked his way into 7th is McCready. As McCready picked up a couple of spots, but gonna need some more. McDougall in 3rd, dealing with Dowd, trying to get underneath him. As 1-2, it's the Keith Kuntz Motorsports cars of Gavin Miller and Emerson Axum here early in this.
Miller picked the front end up that last time by, and here comes Emerson Axum. So a battle of teammates here in this heat race as they quickly pull away from the rest of the field. They're gonna settle it amongst themselves. Axum still trying to chase him down, as we had one blow up there in the infield.
4-2 is still a very good run for Emerson. Should put him well into the qualifier and into the invert as well, where go out, win the qualifier. You're set up real well for the A main event. Miller trying to hold him off, though. So they're only a car length apart as they're coming to the white flag the next time by the flag stand. Back we go. That's McCready, who's in 6th. Ways back from Wesley Smith in the 44X. So 9-6 for McCready, as Gavin Miller with Axum right on his heels. Wheel stands. It takes the win here in the heat.
That was a big one right there.
Axum 2, McDougall 3, Dowd 4, Smith 5, McCready, Urbanowski, Hicks.
I was going to say, I thought I saw a bunch of smoke over in 1 and 2. And
that's quite a bit for Jason McDougall, whose helmet is off at the finish of this one. Scored in the 3rd position. Gavin Miller, your winner, 2023 USAC National Midget Rookie of the Year, as that will be very concerning for the 38 bunch. Mom Christie trying to figure out what's going on.
9-6 for McCready is an 80-point run. So into the qualifier, he should go, but to the point where he's going to have to make a big run up and through it to find out. Let's get a look at the iBox Springs replay and see what happened.
Style points for Gavin Miller here.
Big time.
That is such a fine line of almost just destroying that race car.
The back bumper digging into the dirt.
See the left rear come up, and
yeah,
when that happens, you're a couple more inches away from absolute disaster.
I mean, if he hadn't settled it down at the point where he did going into that corner, he's stuffing it into the fence.
Yeah.
Chris Moore, top of the ramp with the K1 Race Gear interview.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Got Gavin Miller here. Gavin, you know, these races with passing points, not everybody wants to draw the pole. Not only did you do that, you end up in maybe the toughest heat race of the night on the pole. How were the nerves starting this race?
Yeah, I was a little nervous, you know, starting on the pole there, but I know that I got a good car behind me and just got to stay consistent and out front there.
Coming to the checkered, a big-time wheel stand. Were you, how much did that scare you?
Oh, yeah, I throttled out too much, but yeah, it was all right. I kind of made a mistake, but.
You survived it. Good luck the rest of the night.
Yep, thank you.
All right, there you go, guys. Gavin Miller, a little mistake there at the end, but able to pick up a heat race win.
Chris, 3 heat races into this thing, and by my math, nobody over 105.
Yes, nobody over 105. Wow. Just right now, Tyler Edwards and Emerson Axum sharing that spot. And, of course, tiebreakers will go to the earlier heat race. That's what I'm saying.
So it's Edwards right now from a 2-1 run as your guy. All right, Justin Bates, Zach Bowden, row number 1 of this one. Henry Chambers, Josh Balicki in row number 2. Kyle Steffens and Darren Pittman in row 3. Jace Park and Cam Schaefer in the 4th row with Race Rudy all by himself in row number 5.
Not a whole lot surprises in terms of these first 3 heat races, Clinton, I would say.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we're going to see over a 105-point run right here, though.
Okay.
Somebody's going to do it.
Could it be Darren Pittman outside of row number 3? We haven't seen anybody make a charge. Like we mentioned, Axum going 4-2.
It's going to require something different, though, because it's not only we're not seeing guys come from deep in the field, we're just not seeing a lot of movement, period.
There's an opportunity here, though, just by the way the inside lane looks, I think, between Justin Bates, Henry Chambers. Like, if that gets stacked up at all entering turn 1, I feel like Zach Bolden will have enough car speed and Balicki and Pittman can at least pick off 1 or 2. What do I know? I'm not a fortune teller.
Pittman having competed at the level that he's competed, knows the value of starts and restarts all the time, right? Yeah. I mean, it is legitimately hard to pass people in Wing 410 sprint car racing, depending on track conditions. So when you can get them, and especially when everybody's at the same speed, side by side, lined up, you got to pick them off where you can. Darren's going to be as good as that as anybody in this field and beyond. So you can get to 3rd on the initial start, maybe 6-4, and then knock 1 or 2 off from there. You have a feeling that he is primed to at least be the early scoring leader here. Again, it's still got to play out, but good spot for him as we're going to have one pull into the infield.
Race
that
Rudy.
Is guy starting 9th.
So 8 cars will start this one.
Rudy was one of those guys as the TBAs on the entry list until the very last second when he came in to draw his pill. Quite literally, first time I'd ever stood up at the pill draw and watched the process of them doing it. And hey, you're listed as a TBA. Who are you and where you're from?
Yeah. How was it standing up there? It's kind of interesting to see the line. You see some nervous faces. It's almost like you're drawing for your fate at that point.
It was like watching some guys march to their own funeral.
Yeah.
And they certainly looked at it. It was stressed.
Heat 4 coming to green. Justin Bates, Zach Bowden, your front row, and I don't think that one's going to go.
Well, you sure called the outside lane taking off well.
Yep.
Right?
Caution flag is out, so we may see our first penalty of Friday night here, Hard Rock Casino qualifying night.
Depends on how they're going to assess this penalty, and they are going to do it on the outside row, so what a break for Josh Balicki.
Balicki now 4-2, has an opportunity in that Ramco car Kevin Ramey, Taylor Courtney built.
If this is the first time you're tuning in all week, it's a time to remind you that the passing points are calculated from the drop of the initial green, not from the second green. And that time, the inside lane does go. Look at the gamesmanship there from Justin Bates. Well done.
Balicki up the hill. They're going to go 3 wide. Kyle Steffens is going to shuffle his way through, ping-ponging off each other. Darren Pittman, can he go 3 for 1? Thought about it. 3 wide to 1 and 2. Getting racy here in Heat Race 4.
It got real
we got one
for him.
upside down, and that's Josh Balicki. Big-time flip down the back straightaway. Steering wheel's already off. Man.
Saw the whole thing happen there from the turn 1 shot for Balicki, who airborne at the wrong time. Big tumble for him as he bounces off the fence right before the rod end supply sign.
End over end went Balicki. Brian Ward is on the scene.
Yeah, he's climbing out of the seat as soon as they gently get the car down on all fours. He had already unbuckled, and you guys called it taking the steering wheel off, so he's going to climb out of the race car. So that's the best thing to see right now. A lot of damage to this 7 car as he did take that massive tumble. We'll give him a moment to recover himself, and we will get him on the ride so we get a word in here in just a second.
Balicki flying the Elliott's Trailer Sales, Tony Elliott Foundation sponsorship here on the weekend, and unfortunately looking at a wadded up race car there with the hook coming to it and fence repair beginning in and behind it.
Caleb, I've got Josh here as we're walking to the work area. You guys got like 4 wide there coming out of turn number 2. What were your thoughts coming out of the corner?
I was on top, so I didn't really know that. Yeah, I just ran over his right rear, I guess. I didn't know we were 4 wide, so I mean, had a good run going, and yeah, that was a pretty big hit.
You got a lot of air. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel all right.
That's good to see. We're going to let you get back there and get to work on that car.
Thank you.
Good to see Josh OK is, of course, signed just a few weeks ago. Going to go partial with the NASCAR Xfinity season in DGM Racing. So we'll see him back on the NASCAR circuit, but certainly has taken a love to this event the last couple of years. As we take a look one more time, the IBOC Instant Replay, top of your screen, or right of your screen, and end over end.
Only really like 2.5 wide at that point, but where we are with the racetrack right now, 2.5 wide is about 1.5 too much. As up and over the right rear, I think it was Steffens coming out of the corner as Park was sticking his nose down to the bottom, and there's that big bounce off the fence and down for Balicki.
First time I've seen a car this week hit those banners there on the back straightaway, and you could see the indentation on the dirt. Almost like somebody did that like in a sandbox.
From the Nerf bar?
Yeah.
Taking a quick timeout. We'll be back with more Heat Race number 4 here at the 38th Chili Bowl Nationals Friday night edition on FloRacing, presented by NOS Energy Drink. Back to action we go here at the Chili Bowl. We've got 7 laps to go in heat race number 4 after some big time flipping earlier. Nice to see Josh Balicki walk away. However, his night just got extraordinarily more difficult if it can continue at all. Race leader is Justin Bates. Henry Chambers is second. Zach Bowden is third. And Darren Pittman 6-4 with 1 lap in as we're back to green coming off the corner.
Be an opportunity here for Darren Pittman to maybe go 6-3 as we're back underway. Trying to get around Zach Bowden up ahead, but you take a look at Pittman trying to figure out a way up and over the berm. Going to leave the bottom open. No, it won't. Pittman still stuck. Here comes Kyle Steffens in that 8 car.
Chase Park in behind him as Bowden trying to make that car real wide, but there it is. Second lane coming in up and around for Pittman. He'll work the third. Second place in sight for him as we got 1 pulling off. And Pittman is going to get 2. So Pittman right now putting together the big point run we thought was possible.
Yeah, Clinton called it right now, 6-2, looking for more here. May have an opportunity to catch Justin Bates. You look at Kyle Steffens in that 8S up to the 4th position, tracking down Chambers in the 1H.
He was 5th, so he desperately needs 1 more spot here just to get into a better spot for a qualifier as Pittman taking a flyer on Bates out in front. Bates pushing wide. Pittman, he's kind of thought about going low, going to follow him one more lap around. 2 to go, and Pittman looking for a 6-1 run through 4.
Yeah, well, Bates left the door open, and Pittman's going to capitalize. 6-1, Darren Pittman, Matt Wood Racing. On the final lap through turns 3 and 4, Pittman is going to be your new high point man. 6-1, Pittman wins Heat 4. Justin Bates, Henry Chambers, Kyle Steffens, and Jace Park round out the top 5.
125-pointer for Pittman there.
That'll be
up
tough
by
to crack.
20 on the field at the moment, just before the halfway point of heat races.
Yeah, that's so massive. 20-point gap there to, basically half of your competitors is huge.
It's going to put some pressure on those guys coming up a little bit later to go bigger than where Logan's 103 here was okay for a little while here. Now he is so far behind Pittman that even in this qualifier, making that up is going to be near impossible.
Yeah, and you look at Justin Grant, the best he can do is 105, and Ricky Sinas Jr., best he can do is 100. So a lot of these quality cars and drivers not going to be able to score that many points.
Speaking of Justin Grant, he's outside row number 1 for this 5th heat race. Harry Elzo is on his inside. Corey Schutte and Joey Clemish in row 2. Johnny Murdoch, Gage Rucker in row 3, Ace McCarthy and Hunter Schoenberg in a fascinating row number 4. And Jack Wagner all by himself in the 9th starting position.
Yeah, obviously this, I believe Justin Grant should be able to get a good advantage and probably walk away with this one. But that row 4, very interesting with McCarthy as well. We know those cars have speed, obviously, with Tanner Thorson last night. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of moves he can make as we go back to the top of the ramp. Connor Wade is standing by.
An early statement made by Darren Pittman tonight. What a run, 6-1 for a heat race win. Darren, you passed a lot of guys throughout that race, but specifically, let's talk about that pass for the lead. When you got to second, Bates had a pretty good size advantage. What was the key to running him down?
Car's good. Just had to trust it and kind of let things kind of shake out how they were. So just kind of was good to get up front. And, once we got clean track, when I got to second, I felt like we could make some laps that were pretty good and ran him down pretty quick. So it's just narrow, and it's a good start, but a long way to go. So our goal is to, I feel like I need to be more aggressive. I feel like I figured this out by the end of Saturday, and it's too late. So good start, but we got a long ways to go. Hopefully we can start up front, have a good qualifier, and try to put ourselves in a position to start up front in the A.
You've always been really, really impressive in this building for how little you have driven midgets throughout your career. You ran second in this event before. Do you feel like you're back to that form now?
Yeah, I don't know. It's early, but I know the car's capable of doing it. So, man, Matt Wood brought, Shane Golobuck. They've done a great job, and the cars have been fast all week long. So, yeah, the car's capable of winning. Just depends on if the driver can figure it out soon enough to go out there and get the job done.
A heat race win for the 2013 Outlaw champion. And guys, not only has he not ran midgets very much throughout his career, he really hasn't been in the race car very much at all the last 2 years. So what Darren Pittman did right there, very impressive.
Indeed it is, and I'll tell you what, I don't think we should discount the effect that the Mad Wood Racing guys are having for him here this year. That is, as opposed to the normal single car deal that Darren does by himself over right where you enter the pit area from the spectator portion of it. Now being over there, teamed up with those other guys who are having a really good week in and of themselves, I think that's going to be a huge help for them. Well, let's take a look. Next heat race on track, heat race number 5, and Justin Grant, after a race of champions that didn't go his way, chance to redeem himself. Odds on favorite starting outside row number 1 in this one, and again, we're going to be keeping an eye on guys like Schutte, Schoenberg, and McCarthy from a little bit deeper in the field. That 4th row, really good chance for some point scoring here.
Yeah, it really is. And, I talked about the speed of that 28 machine with Ace McCarthy, but Hunter Schoenberg certainly no slouch, as Clint can attest to it. And I know he'll be up on the wheel as well, going 100% as the nickname goes. Lights are out. Coming back to the green flag. Heat race number 5 is underway.
Grant doing everything he can not to jump that start.
Oh,
he got
whoa,
a
big time.
and yeah, that's big time.
Oh, wow.
Knocked the hood off.
God, it almost looked like the throttle stuck.
Field's going to loop through here in the center as safety crews out to attend. That was your pole sitter, Harry Elzo, out of Coweta, Oklahoma, who took that ride over in the turn. So we'll keep things here on the Poske's Performance Parts Speed Shot here for a minute while the crew makes their way out. And we get a complete restart here in this heat.
That car went careening into the outside wall at a high rate of speed. Safety officials tending to the drivers will go ahead and go under the red flag. Cars will stop on the racetrack in turn number 3.
The distance that he rode that wall and that shower of sparks that caught your attention as that was happening was big time over there in the corner. This safety crew out there working on things. We're going to step away for a second. We'll be back with more information here. It is heat race number 5 on the Friday night of the Chili Bowl Nationals. Live coverage continues here on FloRacing, presented by NOS Energy Drink.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500. You spend thousands of hours on the road.
Can he do it again?
Feel hundreds of horses under the hood. But every race, lap, and victory you get starts at 0. New NOS Zero Sugar. Zero sugar, 100% NOS, get after it.
Dave Poske's Performance Parts has been serving the Ohio River Valley and racers from all across the country since 1978, and they are the home to Hoosier Tire, Ohio Valley, and Octane Race Products. Stop in and shop all of the nation's top brands, including Winner's Performance, Willwood Brakes, Bill Stein Shocks, Hyperco Springs, Maxima Race Oils, Impact Safety Equipment, along with hundreds of others. You can also visit Dave Poske's Performance Parts online at Poske.com as we ship UPS and truck freight daily. Dave Poske's Performance Parts, serving the Ohio River Valley and racers all across the country since 1978.
When it comes to magneto ignition performance, there's only one name that you can trust, and that's BR Motorsports Ignitioneering. Servicing the racing industry for over 30 years, our state-of-the-art Magneto Dyno Test Lab facility is equipped with the most technically advanced equipment available. And that's why crew chiefs like Paul Silva and Philip Dietz choose BR for all their ignition needs. To learn more, visit us at brpromag.com.
Standing here in corner number 2 as they continue to clean up. They've got the car on the bucket. Just talked to Harry Elzo as he's going to go with the paramedics for a little bit of further evaluation. He says he's okay. He said he's felt worse before the throttle did hang, as you guys suspected. He said, I should have reached up and hit the kill switch, but I kind of just got in panic mode and held on for dear life, and that's what happened as he went into corner number 2, just across 1 and 2, and hit the wall hard, knocked his glasses off. They came out through the helmet as the visor opened up, and they had to hunt for the glasses for him. But he said he's feeling all right. Good to see him climb out of the race car. They just about completed all the cleanup here. I did see a brake rotor that was just shattered as well. It had completely come apart. He was hammered down on that brake pedal.
Well, the Rowdies gave him a standing ovation as we'll make his way back up to the ramp. But that car, for the lack of better terms, absolutely killed.
Harry Elzo now soliciting sponsorships for a full containment seat in his 66 car.
Yeah. Crazy how back the headrest was knocked out of it.
Well, best news, driver walked away, right? That's
100%.
always kind of what you're after. So for Harry, let's hope it doesn't happen again.
And it's like he talked about too, you know, I had this happen in a micro when the throttle stuck. You know, the reaction time you need to make that decision. Like, I don't blame him maybe being in panic mode, but you're right. If you hit that kill switch, you probably, you're obviously still going to crash, but you probably avoid the impact that he had to that outside wall. But that's a scary situation.
If we rolled that back in real time, from the time that I bet you he realized something was wrong to the point where he could have done something about it, less than a second. I mean, the whole thing took, what, second and a half maybe in real time? So, well, Justin Grant will have a new front row partner here in this one. Is Elzo gone? That's going to put Corey Schutte on the front row, and that is degree of difficulty up a little bit. Grant in the 2 car. Everybody else firing back off, and we'll get into their positions. There's a look at Ace McCarthy in the 28. And there is Schutte in the other black and red 28 car working inside row number 1 now. So Schutte and Grant, Murdoch inside row number 2. And next to him will be Joey Clemish. Ace McCarthy inside row number 3, so the entire inside row gets a free run of passing points before the green flag drops. Second try, getting this heat race underway. Head flagger Terry Maddox taking a look over him. We're green. Into 1. Grant again with the bite in the outside groove. He'll drive into the lead early. Schutte sitting in second. Clemish has got the 3rd spot on lockdown for right now. Here comes McCarthy. A little bump from the right rear into the left rear, and McCarthy, original starting spot, is sitting there 7th for him. Forward he moves, up into 3rd, a good run for Ace.
A little bit above the cushion there off of turn 2, but he got a huge drive down the back straightaway and gonna attack Corey Schutte here as he goes to the bottom. That car looking like it's able to work for him on the bottom and the top a little bit as Schutte tries to get away. There's Hunter Schoenberg trying to knife his way through the field up to 6th. Trying to work on Gage Rucker, and he did, so make that pass for 5th. He's looking for 4th now to the outside of Joey Clemish.
Hunter's got a good race car here. Clinton, the racetrack's actually coming around.
Yeah, you got a little room to work with, just trying to be careful. Gonna get to the outside here into turn 1. He'll make that pass for 4th.
McCarthy up to 2nd, so Hunter Schoenberg up to 4th. McCarthy now 7-2 in the 2.8 drilling 28.
Coming after Clemish on the inside as we are down to the white flag. One more time around for Justin Grant. Grant down the back straightaway with a full straightaway on Ace McCarthy. Takes the win in this heat race with ease. McCarthy 2. Schutte 3, Schoenberg 4, Clemish in 5th. So looking it over.
118 for Ace McCarthy, 7-2 run. Should be good for 2nd in the clubhouse behind Darren Pittman.
Taking a look at it, Schoenberg 7-4 is going to be a qualifier run at least.
8-4.
8-4? 8-4, yep. Make that a 99 pointer for him. He'll be in good shape.
Here's a look at your lineup for heat race number 6. Headed down the ramp, it's Colton Garris and Bo Gastineau in row number 1. Flying Ryan Timms in the KKM 67 will be inside of row 2. To his outside, the young gun Steven Snyder Jr. out of Rising Sun, Maryland. Row 3, Josh Hawkins and Frankie Guarini. Row 4, Kurt Blackby and Brett Becker. Michael Hubert will roll in the 9th and final starting spot. Couple of names in this one as we go back to the top of the ramp. A K1 Race Gear interview with Chris Moore.
Yeah, guys, got Justin Grant here. Justin, you start up front of a heat race. Got out front, do you almost feel like you got a free 8-lap test session there to learn a little bit more about your race car?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you got to find the positives and start off the front row. You at least get some clean sailing, get to see what your car has with some ground speed. And I think our NOS Energy Drink, MPV Express, Carmen Trucking, RMS, and Envirofab 2 is pretty good. We got a little work to do. Get the left rear caught up on it, but I think we're close.
Known as Mr. Friday Night, but tonight maybe the toughest night of the week. What do you feel like you got to do to get back on the top step of that podium here in the preliminary night?
Yeah, Friday's always tough. You know, it seems like everybody, all the tough guys go Friday night, and yeah, we just got to keep plugging away. I just got to do my job, and we should be all right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go, guys. Justin Grant just going to try and keep plugging away at it, but he's got a good race car. And like he said, 8 laps to test and learn a little bit more.
Thank you, Chris. He was, of course, part of that docu-series from FloRacing Dirt. They got to follow Justin. A part of the Chili Bowl was at last year. And really eye-opening look at, you know, not only Justin Grant, the race car driver, but the brains and the mechanical side of Justin was just so cool to watch. And obviously some frustrations as well that we saw in that documentary. But Clinton, I know known him for a long time. I mean, he is so smart when it comes to setting up a race car.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, he could be a crew chief, you know, far beyond, I think, probably any of the crew chiefs we have in this sport. And he just got the talent to do both sides of it. So that's the dedication that Justin has. I think that, you know, maybe it takes. You see guys like Brady Bacon the same way to be the elites of our sport.
A look at Steven Snyder Jr. going from the outside of row number 2 right next to Ryan Timms. That row can have all the eyeballs on it for deciding this heat race, but everybody else looking to prove them wrong and do something big as the field forms up and we get ready for heat race action in the 6th of 9 heat races here tonight at the Chili Bowl Nationals. Hard Rock Casino qualifying night. They switched back to the black pace truck here for the evening.
That's right.
They've got 2 different pace trucks they've been rolling around. Variety is the spice of life, right?
Yeah.
So turn off the traffic lights, and it looks like we will go to green flag action this time by. From the front row of this one, it is Colton Garris and Bo Gastineau. Ryan Timms and Steven Snyder Jr. are going to make life difficult on them for the second row in and behind. Pace picks up at the center of the corner. Garris down low, Gastineau up high, low groove, gets the good start as right into the back. Steven Snyder, huge shot to the 12 of Gastineau, and he gets around.
I'd be curious to see what happens here. You're right, just a big shot to the back of the tail tank. Now, Gastineau, I don't know, maybe backed the corner up a little bit, and Snyder wasn't aware he was going to be that slow.
In real time, it didn't look like he had lifted, had bobbled, had done anything. We'll see what happens in our second look.
He was
maybe had rotated faster than Steven realized.
It looked like he was
to.
trying to get down to the bottom, set that corner up just a little bit early down the straightaway, and caught Steven off guard. Now looking at this, they move now Snyder up to the front row, so given a gift on that deal.
It's one way to get to the front.
Gave himself a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, more like took a gift off the shelf.
So 4-2 already for Snyder, and now a chance to start outside.
Yeah, and Ryan Timms' job just got harder.
Way harder.
So now it's Garris and Snyder, your front row, as we're back underway. And a good start for Garris on the inside as Tim goes, or Snyder went 4 in the fluff here, trying to get the lead into turn 3.
Made that way harder on Timms again as they come up and through, and Timms is saying, get me off this inside line, although he's going to use it to take second away from Snyder coming out of 2. Snyder stuffing the nose back in, down to the bottom of 3, but Ryan Timms trying to get clear of the 40 car. There was some airtime coming through the corner at the back of the field. That's Kurt Blackaby in the 8L.
Coming right toward us in the Brian Kapinski broadcast booth. Here in turn number 4, and safety officials will tend to Kurt. But a massive shot.
Guys, racetrack's gone red again.
Yeah.
As drivers will be cutting the engines here on the front straightaway. Did get a lap complete, 7 to go, but midget heat race number 6 is stopped here at the Chili Bowl as Kurt Blackaby flips hard in corner 4. We will step aside. We'll try to get an update from Blackaby here in the corner. Come back with more next as you guys are watching our coverage of the 38th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals here live from Expo Raceway on FloRacing, presented by NOS Energy Drink. Welcome back here to the Expo Raceway 38th Annual Chili Bowl Nationals here on a Friday night. We were in red flag conditions for Kurt Blackaby, who flipped big here in corner number 4. And we go down trackside to Brian Ward for an update. Brian.
Guys, Kirk is out of the car. He's over on the UTV with the medical officials. They're going to take him back for some evaluation again. They wanted to take their time getting him out of the car. He was communicating with him. He wanted to get out much faster. He was kind of frustrated and wanted to climb out of the car. The officials made him sit there, calm down, catch his breath before they did any moving. So that's why it took a little bit longer, but they did get him out of the car. He walked over to the side-by-side, and he'll go for some more evaluation. Meanwhile, the officials are working on the fence. He got some big air time, and not only for a distance along the fence, but way high up on those rails that hold the fence and the cable up. So officials are standing up. They're almost 3 officials high trying to get that fence secured, and we'll be back under yellow conditions here shortly.
Brian, thank you. That wreck occurred right outside the Brian Kapinski announce booth here, and taking a peek at it, safety officials took a lot of time gingerly getting Kurt up and out of the car, and for good reason. We can see the back of that race car from where we are here in this booth, and wow, what a shot it took.
Yeah, it came down right on those concrete K-rails, but the fence doing a good job of holding everything inside the raceway so far today, and we've seen some big ones, that's no doubt.
Speaks to the safety equipment and all of the thought and process that goes into trying to keeping these drivers as well as they can possibly be, as you can see that car is going off on the bucket. So as front straightaway is up in the air doing something. This is odd.
May have attempted a wave or
is that what it is?
On here, maybe, or some sort of chant. They're saying hey, so hi.
All right.
Was it the Hey Man in turn 3 and 4?
Oh, there he is.
Is
I
it?
can barely see him out of our front window.
Wow.
Yeah,
somebody's
you guys are
waving
right.
off the guys in the front straightaway.
It's the hey sign over here in turn number 4. He was holding it up while they were shouting.
Okay. Well, whatever it
Just
takes,
got it
stay
back in.
involved, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I'm glad somebody's got some energy
keep
because
the
the
energy.
Rowdies don't.
I was about to say, except for the exception, I think Darren Pittman's performance, they got a little bit lively over there in turn 2. It's been relatively quiet. Now, I did get word from Ashley Burnett at Millbridge Speedway that the boomsticks are all Millbridge branded, so they were able to provide those. As you take a look at the wrecked race car, man.
We're looking at the rear halo of that car where it took that impact, and that's scary.
The upper portion of the halo fully intact and straight. That left rear down tube definitely kinked. So scary moment. It's a quick reminder, you know, we're running full-blown race cars inside of the building here. The track's small, but
yeah,
it doesn't mean your crashes are going to be. And safety equipment of the utmost important aspect of racing.
I think it's part of the reason that you've seen things be as muted as they have been so far here, Chris. I mean, 2 full red flag stops just in your first 6 heat races in this deal. It takes a little bit of the energy out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 2 cars off on the bucket, not even able to be drugged back to the pit area. So the intensity's picking up for sure. And yeah, we'll get the energy back in this building. Definitely Friday night. You know, everybody's here now. Get the energy and the anticipation for tomorrow. Typically tonight, turn the bowl pink night. See some pink shirts out there.
Come qualifiers with that bulk of cars that's just sitting in like that 100-point range right now. I have a feeling that we're going to crank the intensity up to 11 come about that time, because there's going to be some guys that are going, all right, I got ground to make up here, and I don't want to end up chasing as far up this field in the main event as I want to.
One thing that red flag did, or yellow flag, is put Ryan Timms back behind Steven Snyder. So Steven Snyder was not having a good go of it the first couple laps. See if he can figure something out here and make some corrections on his race car.
Back under the green flag, 7 to go for Colton Garris, Steven Snyder Jr., and here comes Timms to the bottom of Snyder. And you're right, he's just fighting the handling on that Chase McDermott 40 car, up and over the berm. And right now, Timms just trying to find a way. He does, and the inside will take over second.
Ryan just in a position to eat him up as soon as he got the opportunity to do so, because Steven is just having a hard time finding rhythm. Yellow lights on again as Snyder goes bouncing and rotated back. Guys, guess what? On lap number 2, Steven Snyder was ahead of Ryan Timms.
And one upside down, Hawkins landing on all 4s. That's 5 on the day. And we are here in heat race number 6.
Oh, he's climbing out of that car with some vigor.
Frustrations.
Yeah. You can see the front radius rod to the right-hand side have been knocked out of it already. Is Brian, with the flashy red pants, going to approach with caution, I would imagine, on Josh Hawkins, who's over there.
Yeah, he's going to talk with Chip here real quick as they try to get this car on the hook. Let him get the helmet off. We'll get him on the side-by-side and get a word in with him here. Well, we might make the walk. There's no seat on the side-by-side. Yeah, we're going to make the walk over to the work area. A rough one there. Josh, what'd you see?
I was just pushing it too hard. I don't know who was behind me, but he kept shoving me around and got me all bent out of shape on the start. I was just trying to make it up. I should have just settled down and gave it some time because we had a really fast car. It was working really good on the top. It just couldn't, I wasn't patient enough.
All right, we're going to let him get back to the work area and work on the car, but there you guys got it, the insider perspective from Josh Hawkins.
Back to action we go. Minus one more car.
That's heat races right there. You got guys that are anxious to get through the front, you know, just almost have to remind yourself to calm down and stay poised, you know, not get frustrated. And you heard him say there, just pushed it a little too hard.
Speaking of calm down and not get too frustrated, Clinton, if you're the mechanic in the cockpit of the 40 car, what are you doing at the moment?
Well, I don't know. The last thing I'm going to do is let Ryan Timms drive underneath me into turn one again.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. If he drives around me, you know, I guess he earned it. But twice now we've gave Ryan Timms the free door into turn number one.
Coming back to green, still 6 to go in heat race number 6. Colton Garris, Snyder Jr., and Timms. As they barrel off into turns 1 and 2, Snyder going to poke the nose underneath Garris, not this time by. Much better set of corners in 1 and 2. Snyder up the hill, though, and here comes Ryan Timms. Thank you very much. Will this one stick? As Garris up and over the berm, and Ryan Timms is going to drive right around the outsides. We got another one into the wall and upside down in turn number 1 and 2, and that's the 12 of Bo Gastineau.
I think we got lap 3 complete, though, that time, so Tim should at least be in front of Snyder.
Tim sure hopes so. He's like, man, yeah, look at the top side of the chain link fence. I mean, just ripped it down. The K-rail.
Guys, he was wicked high in the air.
And safety crews on the scene to Bo Gastineau. So it has been a rough and tumble start to this Hard Rock Casino qualifying night, the 5th and final preliminary event of the 2024 Chili Bowl Nationals. Of course, our coverage powered by NOS Energy Drink.
Started with 9 cars in this. We're going to be down to 6, as you can see him climbing up and out of the race car. Good news there. Ryan Ward getting his steps in here in this heat race alone, much less the first 5 before that.
That was as much airtime as we've seen on any crash so far this week.
Guys down here checking out the car. The left front's got a lot of damage. Silver lining, the right front's good, but unfortunately this chassis is junk. This is some of the worst damage to the top of the halo that I've seen. Glad to see Bo climb out of that race car, and he'll go get evaluated a little bit. Well, they're just going to put him on a side-by-side here and get a ride back to the pit area, but you could tell where the top of that cage had a hard hit onto the K-rails, and they're going to continue the repairs on the fence. We're going to go ahead and let Bo take the ride over there, let him recover. That was a very vicious hit, so they'll continue repairs, and I think we might be under red for a few more minutes here.
Guys, this fence only has to last another 30 hours, and it is being absolutely stretched to its max at the moment. Here's the IBOC replay.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Left front over right rear, and that'll do it.
Look at the divot in the right down tube up in the halo area. That's going to come right there.
Ooh. He just kept climbing the fence, too, as well, and that was a heavy impact, and, oh, man. Probably will feel that in the morning tomorrow when he has his orange juice.
Looks like the slope of the green you were putting on yesterday.
Both of those cage members are bent down. I mean, that's
the top of the halo. You see that?
A race car versus cement, and the cement barriers tend to win on that one.
Yeah, that's as scary as it gets right there.
So make that 3 here during heat races alone, now having to be carried off on the bucket.
Imagine there will be a good sale on lightly used parts in the Gastineau pit area.
Yeah. There'll be quite a few, I'm sure, by the end of tonight.
Not just his.
Yeah.
Boy, these officials having to work hard. The track crew just, again, the safety measures that they put in here around the Chili Bowl to try to keep these drivers safe, keep them in the ballpark, etc., are just being stretched to their absolute maximum 3 laps into this heat race alone. Colton Garris is the leader. Ryan Timms is second. Steven Snyder Jr. is third. Frankie Guarini is fourth. Brett Becker is 5. Michael Hubert is 6, and that's it. That's all that's left. We've eliminated 3 already via bucket removal as we're back to action. Let's see if we can just put together 5 incident-free laps.
Wow, that's a good restart for Ryan Timms. 3-1 gets under Garris. Here comes Snyder Jr. now to second. Steven went 4 now to 2. As projected, I was going to say these two would run away, but Snyder looks a little bit better this time, not as darty as he was the opening 6 circuits.
Let's see if he can keep it off the berm there in 3 and 4, because that's jumped up and bit him a few times. Garris in the 7K has got Guarini in the 63, looking for opportunity to get by him off the bottom of turn number 2. We are down to just a couple of laps left here in this heat race, 6 down, 2 to go.
Timms running away with this one in that JBL-colored 67 machine.
110 points if he can bring her home safely on this final lap.
And with ease into turns 3 and 4, chalk up a heat race win to flying Ryan Timms. So 3-1 for Ryan Timms, 4-2 for Steven Snyder Jr. Frankie Guarini with a good run as well, 6-3.
So look at it here. Timms with 110. Okay, that's a little bit above where you've been going, but then 103 for Snyder, 101 for Guarini, and that glut of guys just around 100 points right now gets even bigger. I gotta wonder. I wonder what our invert cutoff is going to be here, as typically it's down 92.5, 93 points or so. We might see one of the highest invert cutoffs that we've seen in a really long time, just considering, again, the glut of cars coming in right around 100 points or so. Take a peek at the lineup for heat race number 7, as on the racetrack, Chris Roseland and Jamie Spears. Second row, Cale Coons and Harley White. Andrew Felker inside row number 3, with Kevin Carl next to Andrew. Terry Nichols and Glenn James Brady in row number 4. Kevin Brewer all by himself in row number 5, the Owasso, Oklahoma driver. Up top we go, K1 Race Gear interview with Connor Wade.
A heat race win for Ryan Timms in his JBL Toyota 67. Ryan did his hat on. Ryan, obviously you had a fast race car. Did you just need a couple laps under green there to be able to mount a run and get by first and second and get to the lead?
Yeah, I think I made a total of about 8 passes there. Yeah, we just kept getting by guys, and then a caution would come out, which it really isn't the end of the world, considering, we were still able to get up there. So I'm really happy with the race car we got. It makes my night a lot easier and a lot more stress-free knowing I got a fast race car. So I got to thank Bo, my crew chief, and Mason, John, JBL, Toyota, everyone that's helping out on this thing.
This is definitely one of the toughest fields, if not the toughest field of the week, when you think about Grant and Seavey, and then at the Stenhouse, the strong cars out of the KTM camp. Do you think at all, whenever you're out there for the feature tonight, about all the other big names in the field?
Yeah, I know it's going to be a tough night, but you got to race some guys on Saturday anyway, so might as well just get warmed up with them on your prelim night.
Ryan Timms, it's his 3rd Chili Bowl, trying to lock into the feature for the 2nd time.
Thank you, Connor. So far, so good for Ryan Timms as we get cars pushed off. Heat race number 7, 3 heat races to go, and
can we just settle down?
Yeah, can we just get through one cleanly?
That would be nice.
They're gonna try to do it here as we take a look through the field. Of course, Harley White in this one outside of the 2nd row, accomplished sprint car veteran.
Cale Coons, rookie opportunity here at the Chili Bowl. I was thinking back to Timms and that, incredible class of that first year of drivers that we let, I'm going to say underage, but pre-16-year-olds apply to come in and run this race, and he was part of that group that did that and has shown out and proved to be a pretty good decision there. The next generation is Cale Coons, and he's inside row number 2 in a Chili Bowl winning race car.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Dooling and that iconic 63, and we know what kind of magic he had with Brian Clausen back in 2014, and that partnership here with Cale, kind of the young shoe, and Cale's been so good. You know, I talked about at the top of the show, winning D2 midget races in the USAC ranks and quickly finding himself as, like you mentioned, one of those up-and-comer, the next generation. And could the Chili Bowl be his place to really put himself on the map as well?
It's going to be an interesting start to this race with Felker right in behind him. And we have seen Felker do some really big things in heat races.
Yeah.
He is not afraid to, I don't know, make a show. I guess that's the best way I could say of Andrew Felker. And right behind Coons, Coons going to have a lot of speed coming right up the back of that race car. See how she goes. Start looks good for now into 1. Little tire touch here or there, but by and large, they'll get through. Opportunity for Coons to shoot the gap. Felker trying to follow him coming through the corner. Coons has got the spot. Does the lap stick? Look out, Terry Maddox. It does. Coons leads. Roseland 2. Felker working for that spot underneath him.
How did they not crash? But what a move for Cale Coons. A veteran move. He's going to set sail on that Joe Dooling 63. Felker up to second after getting around Roseland. Roseland now under attack from Harley White, who's running the bottom in that 17.
The veteran driver is figuring this out and seeing, okay, here's opportunity. Get by on the bottom and go. Yellow lights blinking on around the racetrack, as that is Kevin Carl in the OJ. Pointed into the inside of the racetrack as they rock the car to try to get her out of gear so they can shove it around. Carl causes the caution, 2 laps in and 6 to go here on heat race 7.
What an impressive opening lap there for Cale Coons, and the move he made, a veteran move for the lead. Be curious now just to compare these two head-to-head now that we'll get a single file restart, what Andrew Felker has behind the wheel of that 11 car, because we know, like you mentioned, very good in heat races. Of course, a long standing run of Saturday night performances, higher ups in the Bs and the C mains, still looking for a 3rd Chili Bowl Championship A main start, but perennial top 10 favorite on his prelim night.
He's a guy, when you went and you did your fantasy stuff, you also, if you're looking for that guy that you knew was going to have a solid night, like, okay, what group is he in?
Yep.
Can I count on him? Perfect. Andrew Felker, check box, move on. Next group, right?
Yep.
And no matter where he was, you never saw him in that top 3 of it, but wherever he felt, you could pick Felker and go, cool, he's getting there somehow.
So far, 5-2. A 5-1 would be huge. Cale starting 3rd. We'll see what they can do head-to-head as the lights are out, coming to green. 2 down, 6 to go.
You know, in and of itself, Chris, that 5-2 run's worth 108. That's above and beyond where a lot of these guys are right now in that glut of a pack. So Felker, if he gets one more, he's in good shape, as there goes Harley by. And Nichols deciding to bounce the 1P car off a few drivers. He'll lean on Harley coming through the corner. From the high side, White gets back on the throttle and trying to get away in 3rd. Nichols down there. You really don't want to look like a pinball during this, as Felker is working on Coons. Battle for the lead is on, guys, just beyond the halfway mark of this heat race.
Last time by, Felker was faster than Cale Coons, but again, it's catching him's one thing, passing him's another, and Coons starting to leg it up just a little bit, running the top side in that 63 machine. Felker going to follow through. You start to see the track starting to change. As that time by, Coons was the fastest. But those two are completely gone, a full straightaway ahead of Harley White in 3rd.
White's developed a little bit of a gap between herself and Nichols as we come down to the white flag. One more time around, Felker tries the bottom again, getting into corner 1. Can't make up enough of the gap, and welcome to the Chili Bowl. Cale Coons, a heat race winner in his rookie campaign. Andrew Felker 2, and Harley White picks up 3rd. So for Coons, 110. For Felker, 108. Harley 4-3. Won't be a huge point scoring run, but good enough to get her into a qualifier at 91 points, you would think. Nichols, Brady, Brewer, Roseland, Spears, and Carl.
Yeah, it's a good way to debut here at the Chili Bowl.
And just 2 more heat races yet to come. 2 more in the entirety of Chili Bowl.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry. You want some good news?
Sure.
Dates have been announced for next year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. Midget heat race number 8, it is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Daytona 500 winner on the pole. Tad Holloman next to him. Earl McDowell Jr. and Jody Rosenboom in the second row. Mark Daly and Reese Womack in row number 3. Kaylee Bryson inside row number 4. Shane Cottle going to go next to her. And Chase Osteroff in the 130, your 9 cars here in the 8th of 9 heat races. Stenhouse in prime position here from the very front row is, again, heat races settled down a little bit on this last run, but pole position a good place to be if there's going to be all kinds of extracurriculars in and behind you, and Stenhouse has to be happy to see that. You know, as opposed to Tulsa Shootout, it's been talked about where the pole is not necessarily a death knell, but it puts you way behind. Here, pole of a heat race and a win, considering the smaller fields every night, way more manageable. It puts you into a qualifier. You're pretty well guaranteed and a decent starting spot where if you can come through the qualifier, that's more than enough points to a good A-main start. We'll talk more about that in a second. We've got Chris Moore up top with the K1 Race Gear interview.
Yeah, guys, I got Cale Coons here. Cale, are you sure you haven't done this before in this building, man? It looked like you were right at home.
Yeah, I think running the mic right here helps, especially when it's like just a week before, you know. But can't thank Joe Dooling and my dad enough for giving me this great car tonight.
Tell me about the move you made to get to the lead right away. I mean, they said it in the booth, that was a veteran move. You looked like Jerry.
Thanks. I don't know. I just saw an opening and took it.
Well, keep doing that. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go, guys. Cale Coons, a Chili Bowl rookie, quickly establishing himself tonight.
A Chili Bowl rookie, but he's been to so many Chili Bowls before even stepping foot behind the wheel of that Joe Dooling 63, watching Dad do this so many times.
And he's going to have great coaching and great mentoring available to him for what he just went through there. So well done, Cale. Off to an awfully good start.
2 heat races left to go. Just take a look at your front row. There's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the NOS colors. Of course, we mentioned it's been a long time coming reunion for Ricky and Keith Coons. 2008, the last time those two teamed up together before Ricky, of course, his career took him to racing on Sundays. And now back behind the wheel of a KKM midget here at the Chili Bowl, and always one to watch on his prelim night. He'll set the pace with Tad Holloman to the outside as heat race number 8 fires off. We're green. Down the back straightaway, Stenhouse already has a solid advantage. Battle for second. It's to the inside, looking for Jody Rosenboom, trying to go 4-2. As your early leader, Stenhouse leads Holloman, Rosenboom, McDowell Jr., Daly, your top 5. 3 wide, a little deeper in the field. Here comes Shane Cottle around the outside of Mark Daly up to that 6th spot. Kaylee Bryson in tow, trying to get underneath Mark Daly as well. And she'll make the pass in that Sammy Swindell Bertrand Motorsports 91. McDowell Jr. now to the outside. Here's a just stack up of cars. You're looking at 5th, 6th, and 7th on your screen. Cottle muscling his way to the inside. He'll get through Reese Womack. Shane Cottle now inside the top 5 from deep in this field in 8th. And Cottle's not done yet. McDowell Jr., you're next on the Cottle hit list. He gets by in turns 1 and 2. So Shane Cottle 8-3. Here in the early goings, coming around, already 2 laps to go next time back. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is set sail and gone. He'll see the white flag. A straightaway and a half lead. Tad Holloman still holding on. They're still battling back here in the field. Kaylee Bryson trying to get 6th, but has a roadblock up ahead. Turn 3 and 4, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Welcome back to the Chili Bowl. He'll win heat race 8, long ways back. Tad Holloman, and at the stripe, Jody Rosenboom hangs off Shane Cottle, who worked his way up to 4th. So an 8-4 run for Shane Cottle as you look at your finishing results.
99 for Cottle, right into that, again, glut right around 100. Nobody else really putting on anything. Bryson got stuck. She starts 7th, finishes 7th in the 91K car.
Yeah.
So, again, I think this is going to be a really fascinating look at where these qualifiers line all these guys up at. A few guys gigantic runs, but the rest of them, they've been able to pick off a car or two based on where they've started, and that's been about it. And again, every heat race that passes by without massive scorers is even better news for Darren Pittman, as we will go up top with Connor Wade.
Heat race number 8 goes to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. back in the building. Ricky, obviously this is a last-minute decision for you to come and run for Keith here, but are you comfortable in this race car yet?
Yeah, it felt really good. You know, Jarrett, Caleb, Tanner, and the guys got this NOS Energy Drink KKM car running really well. Obviously, starting on the pole, we had to win that one, but you know, I got to move around a little bit there and try some different lines, and I felt comfortable. It's all we could do. So we'll go to the qualifier and see if we can gain some more points and see how close we can start towards the front of this feature.
Obviously, you've always been good in midgets, always been good at the Chili Bowl, but I feel like the last 2 Chili Bowls you ran, you were really, really good. Couple podiums on the prelims, 7th and 9th in your last 2 Saturday finales. Those last couple years, was there something different that maybe you felt in this building?
I think I've just kind of calmed down a little bit, and I'm a little bit smoother than I used to be, I guess. Maybe that's old age, I'm not sure. So running over here at KKM definitely makes you feel old with all the kids, but having a lot of fun so far.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wins from the pole. He'll have a couple cars to pass in the qualifier, but the 71 looks fast tonight.
All right, Connor, appreciate it, guys. It is heat race number 9, and the ultra fascinating row number 1 for this one is Santino Ferrucci taking on Chris Andrews. Row number 2, interesting too. Bryant Wiedemann versus Anton Hernandez. Jake Stockton buried in row number 3 on the inside next to Hayden Reinbold. Donovan Peterson inside row number 4 with Kyler Johnson next to him. 8 cars for the final heat of the night. 9 heat races total, 8 laps in distance for this one, and Santino, the less veteran driver of the two, talked to him up top, excited to be here.
Yeah.
Quite literally told us, if I can just get out and make a bunch of laps around the bottom, I'm good. I'm way better on the bottom.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, he continues to get better every time he's out on the racetrack, and was very pleased to see himself start on the front row because he felt like that clean air and that opportunity to just make laps, no matter what happens, is just key for kind of his development. But man, he's made leaps and bounds, looked super smooth in hot laps compared to maybe years past, and you know, continues to grow as a midget racer as well. Obviously, we know what he can do in an open wheel car in the NTT IndyCar Series. So we'll see what he can do here from the front row. How aggressive does Chris Andrews get from the outside of the front row? Of course, Brian Wiedemann, a top 5 in the USAC points this year for Chad Boat. He's fast as well. And then Chase Stockton, who's just a perennial non-wing sprint car veteran who's so good in this building. Interesting to see what happens.
Anton off the outside of the second row, who has got a golden driller in Tulsa shootout competition as well. If he can get up and around. Again, so much to follow here on this one. Racetrack getting a little bit wider, and that is probably the start Chris Andrews needs. Gets into corner number 1. Up and around goes Chris and takes the spot.
Wiedemann goes outside as well, and so Bryant Wiedemann 3-2 as Santino just tries to settle in here on the bottom. Here comes Hayden Reinbold. Lap 1 though, Chris Andrews, and he's got all sorts of company as well. As you look back, Reinbold gets around Santino for 3rd. Ferrucci settling in. Here's your battle for the lead. Bryant Wiedemann trying to poke a nose underneath Chris Andrews.
What a great dichotomy here we have for your lead. It's Andrews, old age and treachery, versus youth and enthusiasm, trying to sneak around him, and Wiedemann, who's trying to help turn the week around for CB Industries. The big multi-car team versus the one-car operation coming through the corner, and Andrews bouncing off the cushion. In 3 goes Chris. Wiedemann going to follow him to the top of turn number 1, and Reinbold now dialing in.
Here comes Wiedemann. This time he'll fire it into the bottom side, up and over the berm using the left front. Drag race. Andrews hanging on. Does he change lines? No. Top in 1 and 2, and Wiedemann will cut across the nose. Bryant Wiedemann, but crossover move for Andrews. He'll fire it back in there, bounce off the cushion, and collects Hayden Reinbold.
And watch this, guys, because that just happened. Swap your top 2. Andrews is going to go back up into the front of this over Wiedemann here with 3 laps in to go. Reinbold gets the worst of that deal as Andrews trying to get Wiedemann back a little sideways in the corner. Reinbold into it, now to the back of the pack.
Reinbold's car's tore up, guys. Both right front radius rods are done. Axle's rolled up. He's going to want to refire here, but it's not going to happen for him.
Ibach Springs replay coming into the corner. There's Andrews down low, and you saw just over-rotated, got in, and
fired off a bit out of control there.
So it goes back to the last completed lap, 5 down and 3 to go. Andrews, Wiedemann, Stockton 5-3 now on that run. Anton, Santino, Peterson, and Kyler Johnson. And you're right, you'll take a look at the right side radius rods and the Reinbold card, and they're tacoed coming off the turn.
You can see right there, that thing would be an absolute handful for Hayden Reinbold. So, man, tough break for him, 6-3, and was working on a couple more there. And
legit opportunity if Wiedemann and Andrews kept racing each other like they were to sneak up and take a spot there at the very end, at least one, maybe two.
Yeah, he had just had the fastest lap was the fastest lap there.
Stockton actually has the best lap of the race here at this point in time. We just didn't have a chance to watch him since the battle up front has been as good as it is.
Guys, I'm over in the work area. They already have the upper right side radius rod off. They're working on the lower right now, and here comes a set. They had brought a drag link down, had the wrong side, so they sent a couple guys up, run and get them. Now they're trying to get that axle's too far back right now, trying to get it lined up in the spud on the chassis on the back side of the upper radius rod.
Well, the lights are out, so they better go quick.
Yeah, struggling to get it back in right here. They've got it lined up. There go the impacts on it.
So they're going to keep working. If we don't get a lap score, they'll have an opportunity. But right now, coming to green, Chris Andrews, Bryant Wiedemann, Chase Stockton, your top three. As back underway and on to the top side of the racetrack, both your leaders go, and Wiedemann hanging close here with Chris Andrews as they'll come around and see 2 to go. A little bobble for Andrews, and here comes Bryant Wiedemann.
A little surprised that Andrews didn't get a bit more conservative and bring that car down to the bottom, force Wiedemann to try to drive around him. As Stockton now sniffing opportunity here in the 32S. With the white flag out, Stockton looking down low. He's got a good line on Andrews for the runner-up position. See if Chris goes down and closes the door here into 3. He will. Buries it off the corner as Wiedemann's going to get the win. Andrews 2, and Stockton has to settle for 5 to 3rd.
Stockton looked good there at the end. It just seemed like hard to get around Chris Andrews, but kudos to Chris for knowing what to do in 3 and 4 and not leaving that door open. But Bryant Wiedemann picks up a win for CB Industries.
110 points for him. Nice job by Bryant. That gets him ahead of the curve over a lot of the rest of these guys.
And that is your 9th and final heat race of the 2024 Chili Bowl Nationals.
The whittling process is on from here, is that there is nothing. You've got 4 qualifiers, but basically every other race is now for Saturday seeding, and after that, eliminations.